Hi everyone, so today we are talking all about wedding dresses for the body types. And so if you are completely new here, we're going to talk about the body types, we're going to talk about silhouettes and the different wedding dresses that would suit your silhouette. And if you're interested in getting a body typing or color typing with me, then you can take a look in the description box below on how you can book with me. This is basically what I do for a living is I'm an image consultant, and then I make these videos talking about body typing and color typing and everything in between. And then I also have a video on hair and makeup, bridal hair and makeup in Miriam Style Club. So if you're interested in seeing that, then you can take a look down below on how you can join, because it really is half the look is the bridal hair and makeup, and then half of it is the wedding dress. So you'll hear me referring a lot to this wedding dress can be made into like can different body types can wear a certain wedding dress depending on how they do their hair and makeup. So it's kind of like two parts of the same thing. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so the main thing that I suspect people worry about when it comes to wedding dresses is that if you are someone who is someone who has a bit more height, someone who is not very flattered by these like frills and ruffles and all of this stuff, what kind of wedding dress should you wear? So if you are someone who is, let's say, a flamboyant natural, let's start with the naturals first. So I'm going to do each of the body types kind of in order so that we can stay organized. So let's do naturals first. So if you're a flamboyant natural, then you want to go for asymmetry at the neckline. You want to go for these very like elongated silhouettes, like something like this would look really amazing on you. Something that is a bit more oversized in the way that it falls would be beautiful, and something without too much intricacy, like something like this really wouldn't work for you if you are a flamboyant natural. It's just too much frilliness and flounciness. You have more of this kind of like Greek goddess like kind of look, and you have those long lines, you look like a model. And so because of that, you want to go for like the elongated lines, and also boat necks are amazing. So anything that shows your shoulders with open shoulders is amazing, and avoiding an overuse of frills, like some lace, some feminine detailing is okay, but an overuse may be a little bit too much. Um, so let's see, let's keep looking. So, oh, something like this would be beautiful. And I said this in my club video too, but the things that end up on like the top results of Pinterest, oftentimes these people are wearing their own lines. So this woman, I wouldn't be surprised if she is a flamboyant natural, and she just looks amazing in this. You see how the detailing is all kind of oversized? You see how it's like the sleeves are a bit kind of like larger. She doesn't have like tiny little cap sleeves or something. She doesn't have little tiny straps. That's another thing to avoid, these little tiny straps, to a wedding dress. Something like this is beautiful for a flamboyant natural. Something like this is also amazing. Like would be so elegant because it has that kind of like asymmetry and draping. Something like this would also be beautiful. I can't tell, does this have, I think this would be beautiful on a flamboyant natural. It has some like sparkle to it and some satin, so it's gonna look pretty glamorous on you if you're a flamboyant natural, but it's gonna look stunning because it has this draping and stuff like that. And this is one of those dresses that it's gonna depend on how you do your hair and makeup. And so if you're a flamboyant natural, you're gonna do your hair a bit more like tousled and stuff. And then if you are another body type, like a soft dramatic could also wear this, even a romantic could wear this, but they would definitely style it very differently. So this is a pretty versatile dress. But I would say, yeah, that's the thing, is that it's just going to look completely different. The thing with wedding dresses is that, or like a dress, is you're going to get it tailored to your proportions, presumably. And so if a romantic wears this, like you can see Kate Winslet wearing this in Titanic, you can see Kate Winslet wearing this, but it's going to look completely different on her, and it's going to fall differently on her than it will on a classic or a flamboyant natural. So there is some leeway in terms of like if you really love a dress, doing your hair and makeup in a way that makes sense for your body type is gonna like bring the look together. But if you're a flamboyant natural, you definitely want to avoid something like this, where it's like a corset and then like a frilly, fluffy bottom. You want to avoid that for sure, because that's not going to fall differently on you than it would on a romantic. Like it's just not going to work at all. Something like this that just like separates the top and the bottom. So now if you are a soft natural, you're going to want something that is, ooh, look at this. This would look pretty cool on a flamboyant natural too, this kind of skirt. And something like this too, with these like drop sleeves, these kinds of sleeves would look amazing on any natural, any natural. So if you are a soft natural, your recommendations are similar to a flamboyant natural in a lot of ways. Like you want things that are a bit more flowy. You don't want anything that's like too, like you don't want something like this that's too fitted. Like you don't want a corset dress, for example. That's going to look too stiff on you. You don't want a stiff bodice like this one if you are a soft natural, and you may not even really want something like this either. This is more for a soft dramatic, but something that is like more draped, kind of like this, something that is, this would be really beautiful on a soft natural. Now, as a soft natural, you can do like maybe some more intricate detailing, maybe some dainty straps, things like that. You can do that as a soft natural. But you want to stay away from anything corseted. That's just going to look a little bit too stiff on you. So something like this, again, would be beautiful on a soft natural. Something like this would be really beautiful on a soft natural. Something that is, oh, something like this would be beautiful on a soft natural. You see like the open, shoulders. Something like this would be beautiful on a soft natural or a flamboyant natural. Actually, this lady looks like she is a flamboyant natural, you see. And you see how flattering it is on her. It would be flattering on a soft natural too. Okay, so now let's move on to classics. Classics are almost like in a way the opposite of naturals, right? Because classics, they really can't handle any texture. They can't handle any kind of like detailing, too much detailing and things like that. So you want to go for things that are really moderate, everything moderate in proportion. So something like this would be beautiful on a classic, something very like minimal in its detailing really works well for classics. So anything that is like something like this would look really elegant on a classic. Maybe if the lace was a bit less textured, but the cut of it would be beautiful on a pure classic. But maybe with a bit less texture now that I look at it closer, it's a bit too bohemian for a classic. Something like this would work well for a classic, again, more minimal. This would also work beautifully on a classic, because this is the thing, is that if you're a classic, you can do things that are a bit more, have a bit more, like feminine touches to it. You don't want to go overboard, but you can do a bit more. You can do something like this. You can do something like this, for example. But what you want to avoid, here are some things to avoid as a soft classic, or a dramatic classic or a pure classic, is asymmetry. You want to avoid asymmetry. Any sort of like asymmetry, especially the neckline, is a really bad idea for any kind of classic. And so if you're a dramatic classic, you may want to go for something that is even something like this, that is like more like made of satin. Satin looks really beautiful on dramatic classics. And if you are a soft classic, then something that is a bit more intricate, a bit more soft. So something like this would be excellent. Something like this would also work well. And if you're a soft classic, you definitely want to avoid anything that, like something like this is way too much. This one has like the lines are just way too long for a soft classic. The shapes are just too oversized for a soft classic. Like this is more for a soft dramatic. So the difference between soft classic and dramatic classic is that dramatic classic is going to have more geometrics and you want for the shapes to be more sleek. So even, something like this may work well on a dramatic classic because the bodice is a bit more firm and shaped. Something like this would work really well on a dramatic classic because again, we have those like geometrics to the dress. Even something like this may work for a dramatic classic, especially if you have a lot of length to your silhouette. That would work well. But if you're a soft classic, you want to kind of avoid those things that are, like the geometrics and the stiff bodice and everything because you have that softness. You don't want anything too stiff. And so if you're a soft classic, something like this would be pretty. Something like this may work well. Even though this bodice is stiff, it's softened by all that lace and feminine detailing. Something like this would be really pretty for a soft classic too. This would look really feminine and really, really like romantic on a soft classic, but on a romantic, it would look just like elegant and normal. So let's move on to romantics. So the thing with romantics is that you guys have a really easy time out with wedding dresses because you can just go overboard. Like you can get the most frilly, like something like this, the most like lacy, ruffly wedding dress, something like this for a theatrical romantic would be amazing. Theatrical romantics look amazing in like a corseted kind of wedding dress. And pure romantics, maybe they want to do something like this, where it's like, it's just a bit softer. And so where was that one dress that, of course, I'm probably not going to find it now, but oh, yeah, something like this for a romantic would be amazing. Like a pure romantic, just everything very soft, like all that gauzy fabric, chiffon, everything flouncy, frilly. That's just going to look so stunning on a romantic, and more is more. Something like this would be stunning on a romantic, like a pure romantic. That would be stunning. And if you're a theatrical romantic, something like this, with satin, something super glam would be amazing. So something like this, also like if you don't want something fluffy, you can do something like this as a theatrical romantic, like a corseted wedding dress would just be perfect. Yeah, something like this for a romantic or theatrical romantic. Now she's a soft classic. Look, I don't know. I should take it back. I'm not sure. But the reason why I say that she may be a soft classic is because this looks like, really detailed on her and it looks really romantic on her. But if she were a romantic, it would look actually like not as feminine and not as romantic on her, if that makes sense. So yeah, something like this for a theatrical romantic would work pretty well. Maybe the sleeves are a little bit too long, but I think that would be okay. Something like this would be pretty on a romantic. So yeah, you really want to go pretty overboard when it comes to detailing and frills and ruffles and everything in between. Because as a romantic, even an average amount of frill doesn't look that frilly on you. So if you really want that kind of like feminine, glowy, bridal look, then you want to be going overboard. That's something to remember. And definitely avoid anything like elongated, like these long slits. Avoid anything asymmetrical for sure. Anything asymmetrical. Let's see, let me show something asymmetrical. Oh, also avoid these oversized shapes. Like if it's really huge and oversized and it looks like it's for someone who should be like, who has like, if it looks like it's a dress for someone who's like really like tall with long legs type of thing, don't go for something like that because as a romantic, you are petite and small and curvy. And so you don't want to be going for something that is like overly elongated. Like something like this is just not, you have so many better options as a romantic. It's not that this is going to look bad on you, it's just you have so many better options. So don't go for something that has these like longer lines, like even something like this. You see, I don't think this really suits her that much because I think she's a little bit too petite for something like this. Like her bone structure is just too small for something like this. Something like this would be perfect for any kind of romantic. Okay, so next up, let's do gamines. So as a gamine, you want to go for things that have shorter lines. And for you, it's going to be the hair and makeup are going to make or break it because the thing with gamines is that when they wear things that are more mature, and oftentimes wedding dresses are a bit more mature because they're more womanly, the gamine can tend to look very childish as a contrast. And these are usually the people who complain that if you're someone who complains about, oh, I look like a child whenever I dress up for an interview, that's you're a gamine. Okay, so that's basically you're a gamine. You may even be a soft gamine, but not necessarily. You could be a flamboyant gamine too. And this is the same thing on the wedding day. This could be like something that may come up. And the key to this is actually to go for hair and makeup. And I will talk briefly about hair and makeup here because it's just so important. I mean, of course, I talk more about it in the club video, but for your hair, you want to do something tousled. And for your makeup, you want to do an emphasis on the eyes, like maybe like a little bit of a smoky eye and a neutral lip in general. So it's kind of like in general what you want to do as a gamine. And for jewelry, you want to avoid like overly glamorous jewelry. And for wedding dresses, you also want to avoid overly glamorous wedding dresses. So something like this would be beautiful if you are a gamine of any kind, especially a flamboyant gamine. And something that is just not as womanly. Anything that doesn't look as like womanly and mature is something that's going to flatter you more. So I would say even something like this may work. Of course, something like this, like having like a stiff bodice is a really good idea. And another thing you may want to consider is going for like more so-called like girly kinds of dresses. So anything that has that like poofy skirt may actually work well because what's going to happen is that if you have a if you have kind of a skirt like this, so you have like that corseted top and then a poofy skirt that poofs out, that's going to break up the long lines of your silhouette. That's going to break up the long lines of the dress because the dress is all white top to bottom, obviously. So that may be too long of a line for you. So what you may want to do is one way to break up that line is with the silhouette itself. So imagine if you have like the corseted top and then the poofy skirt that just goes out. That can actually be really flattering on a gamine. And that can be a way to achieve like a princessy kind of look, and a romantic look while still honoring your lines. So that's a really good way to go if you like poofy dresses. I would definitely avoid anything like this. Any sort of like mermaid dresses, I would absolutely avoid. As a gamine, I would avoid any kind of mermaid thing like this. Instead, again, like something poofy, the corseted top and then the poofy bottom, or something like this may work. This looks a bit more youthful. It's not so intricate. I would avoid anything like this again with like a low neckline. I would avoid that. Um, let's see. Something like this would be really pretty on a flamboyant gamine or a soft gamine. That would work well. Something like this may also work because again, it has that like breaking of the line at the waist, which is what I'm looking for. Yeah, so you want to focus on anything that has just like a stiff bodice and then a skirt, like a fuller skirt of some kind. And you usually probably don't want that additional fabric at the back. And you don't want any sort of like slits. Definitely you don't want any slits or anything like that either. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about dramatics. Now, dramatics, you guys generally, so dramatics, pure dramatics do really well with asymmetry at the neckline. So you're one of the few, you and Flamboyant Natural are the only ones who can do asymmetry at the neckline. So I would recommend going for it. Asymmetrical neckline, kind of like this goddess kind of look. Another option is open shoulders and something like this. This would be amazing. A mermaid type of dress is amazing. So this would be beautiful on a dramatic. So this is the difference. This is great for a dramatic. You see that? And now this would be great for a soft dramatic because you see how it has these huge shapes and it's satin and it's all like these like huge luxurious folds. That would be amazing on a soft dramatic. A mermaid dress would be amazing on a soft dramatic because it emphasizes the curves and it emphasizes the long lines. So mermaid silhouettes are amazing on soft dramatics, or statement silhouettes like this, where it's like really tight at the waist and then like it comes out at the hips like this would just be stunning on a soft dramatic. Now for a dramatic, something like this would work well. A deep slit on the leg would be amazing, as it would be for a soft dramatic too. We also have the asymmetry at the neckline here for a pure dramatic. If you're a soft dramatic, no asymmetry at the neckline, asymmetry only below the waist. This, of course, would be amazing for a pure dramatic. This would just be so stunning, unbelievably stunning for a pure dramatic. Satin is amazing on dramatics, both dramatics and soft dramatics. Very sleek lines, very put together. Satin is just amazing on dramatics. Anything like this also. Whoa, what is happening? Okay. Anything like this, the asymmetry at the neckline, amazing on any dramatic. This would be amazing on a dramatic, or honestly, like even though you'd have to try it as a soft dramatic, you'd have to try it on because it does have this to kind of balance it. So I think this would be great for a soft dramatic. In general, I would say no, don't do asymmetry at the neckline for a soft dramatic, but this one, because the asymmetry here balances the asymmetry here, you see how it doesn't really look like it's kind of like just dragging the whole dress down. So I would say this would be beautiful on both dramatic and soft dramatic. So you can do, so something like this would be great on a dramatic. You see, this model may be a dramatic who's wearing it, and that looks amazing. Something like this would also be beautiful on a dramatic if it were in white, you know, if it were a wedding dress. Um, let's go back. Where were we? Back. Now, if you want to do more, let's go back. If you want to do more feminine detailing as a dramatic, one way to do this is to go for adding in more of your own elements. So for example, you may want to add in the asymmetry at the neckline, really long lines, a really deep slit. And then if you have all of those elements, you can add in some of like some more like lace or like some understated ruffles or something like that. You don't want to go over the top with the lace and the ruffles though, because that can look a little bit disconnected from you. But you can definitely do some of that if you have enough of the other elements. So you could do something like this, for example, because this has like the long lines. The dress has the long lines, and then it has some lace on the sleeves, and the sleeves are like super long and they go all the way past the knuckle. You could do something like that on your wedding day as a dramatic. You have to keep in mind that the hair and the makeup are going to be really important, just as important, if not more important, than the wedding dress for you. So something like this would be excellent as a dramatic, a pure dramatic. This would be amazing. Did I already say mermaid dresses for soft dramatic? I hope I did. Something like this as a soft dramatic would be amazing because you have those long lines and you have the curves. So this is just amazing. That long trail of fabric behind the dress is great on soft dramatics. Yeah, this kind of thing, like these really long sleeves, like this dress would be amazing on a soft dramatic because it has those long lines, and she may even be a soft dramatic. I don't know. Maybe she's a natural. I'm not sure. But she has those longer lines anyway. It looks amazing on her. So, as a soft dramatic, you have the long lines, you have the curves, and so this kind of dress would be excellent. The long sleeves and then all of the intricacy and the softness and the mermaid silhouette is excellent and the waist definition is excellent. So yeah, anything like that. Now, if you're a dramatic, you could do something like this. You could do something like this. Now, this has, more of these longer lines. Yes, it does have some intricacy, but again, it is a wedding day, and so that is to be expected to some degree. So that may work pretty well because it has that like longer line to the dress. And what you want to avoid as a dramatic is the corseted dresses with the poofy skirts, because those are just going to really break up your lines. Something like this as a dramatic would be excellent. Something like this would be amazing as a dramatic. Something like this would be amazing as a dramatic. This would be amazing too. This would be absolutely, whoa, where did it go? This would be absolutely stunning. And this would work pretty well also as a dramatic. Even though it has some elements of natural, because the main, like the bodice of it and the main silhouette of it is pretty sleek, I think it would just look very feminine and beautiful on a dramatic. Like those sleeves would work really beautifully. Oh, this would be excellent on both a dramatic and a soft dramatic. It would just sit differently. It would look differently on your silhouette, but it would be amazing on both. This would be excellent on a dramatic or a soft dramatic, but I would say a dramatic more so. All right, so that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments, as usual, how you liked it, what was your favorite wedding dress, and what kinds of things, if you ever had a wedding, what did you wear to your wedding? I'd be really curious to know that. So if you are interested in seeing the bridal hair and makeup video on Club, then I'll leave a link on how you can join Club. If you're interested in getting typed by me, then I'll leave a link on how you can book a consultation with me. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you next time. Okay, bye.